Hello, my name is Ellis. Welcome to the Grinwy Gaming channel. Hope you're having a good night, chilling on your Saturday. Sorry my chair is so squeaky. Hopefully you can hear everything okay. I'm trying to get the audio to a decent level. I might turn down the game sound just a little bit, because I don't know, guys. I'll be honest. I was just watching Potato McWhiskey. He's a Civ 6 streamer slash YouTuber. He's got a brilliant design where he streams a game of Civ and then he cuts it down to like 5 20-minute episodes for YouTube. So he's streaming like a 5 to 6 hour game, and then gets 5 20-minute episodes, which is about perfect retention rate out of YouTube. So that got me thinking, like, I don't know. I feel like I've been with YouTube, involved with YouTube. What would it be? It's about 15 years now. I don't do it as a job. I don't do it for money. I don't do it because I'm good at it. I do it because I think it's fun. I see it as a sort of medium of conversation or a creative outlet. So this game is brain dead for me. Don't be hating. I don't got the hardest settings on, but I've played a fair amount of golf video games, so I have hard settings on. You know what? I should show them. I should show the haters. Go back to the main menu. The interface is kind of clunky in this game. That's my only complaint. Won't lie. It's a great game though. Really recommend you try it if you like golf at all. So I got swing meter and power boost on just because I'm used to the arcade style golf video games where you gotta tap a button to make it better, but shot shaping's on, which actually makes it trickier. Lie effect is on, which makes it harder. Zoom makes it easier. Aiming arc is on short, which is medium. Putting aiming point. It says assisted aim. This is not as easy as you think it is. It kind of just gives you a suggestion for how hard you should hit the putt, because I don't have a guideline. I'm going to turn down the music. Oh, wait, I think I found out I can turn down my headphone volume without turning down game volume. So hopefully the audio is not brutal. I did just alt-tab, so you're going to lose game audio for a second. I want to pull up my chat thingy, just in case someone says, dude, you're killing my ears. For some reason my mic doesn't seem as efficient as it used to be. I don't know what's up with that. Putt reads off so I don't get the little ghost line. Putting grid is on because I don't have the ghost line. Wind gust makes the wind vary. When reading full, I like information. Auto tap it on 1 foot, it just speeds up the game. I'm not going to miss from 1 foot. Mulligan is off. I think I probably should turn down the music. Look at me, I'm going into auto screamer mode. I'm trying to talk about YouTube meta, and instead I just default. No, let's apply those changes. My allergies have been acting up pretty bad, so I'm going to have to spit a couple times. I do apologize. I know that doesn't sound great, but it's like if I have to run my AC too much and it's humid out, I'm just done for. I'm going to put a tobacco stick in. So, I guess the point of this video is I just want to talk about YouTube, how I saw it when I started with it, how it changed my life, how it changed over its life, and where I think it'll go. I think this is an interesting thing to talk about because as a essentially literary medium, it will and has followed patterns of past literary mediums. You can see the progression of YouTube mirrored in, and I will try not to go into subjects that I haven't studied because I don't want to come across as speculative or generalizing. But like even the postmodern American literary movement is the same thing YouTube did. But you take what's that guy's name? Ah, crap! I gotta look it up. It's the theory that technology increases at an exponential rate. Essentially, as we make more technology, the more technology makes itself. Oh, geez, where are my frames at? I better not open up the internet. Actually, I think I can stream this game. So the name is going to go unknown. I'm hitting 60 frames, but I'm tabbed out, so I think it's like.
On this final Sunday, one will emerge.
Oh, I'm on day 4. Nice. This is a career I started a long time ago.
The people's champion. This
But
is the final.
The reason, I'm kind of going to chill on the gameplay commentary and talk about theoretical stuff today. Where was I?
Sports and the PGA Tour, so proud to present race.
I think I need to turn down the desktop audio a little bit.
Rochester, New York, live final round coverage of the PGA Championship.
I totally forgot my train of thought too. Damn.
This has been so far.
I know I was talking about postmodernism.
By nightfall, we will have our winner.
I guess it doesn't matter. Because I kind of like I said, I was watching Potato McWhiskey. Who's that's where I should start.
He's got a commanding 5-shot
Yeah.
lead here as he has been spectacular thus far.
So I got addicted to YouTube probably around 2011. It started with Machinima, Call of Duty, COD 4, COD 5, COD 6, 10-minute commentary videos. A match back then was 10 minutes. They would, record themselves having a sick game of Call of Duty and talk about either random crap or why they were good. And I think at that point in my life, I felt so disconnected from real life socialization that I loved video games ever since Animal Crossing 2006 when I was 8 years old. Had a Wii that I played Call of Duty on because we were poor, couldn't afford the Xbox or PlayStation, but I got the Wii, and by golly, I was going to make Call of Duty work because that's what I saw on YouTube. I'm talking T. Martin, who's still a great content creator. I love his diversity. He actually plays a lot of really cool games. Only Use Me Blade. Huck. I think he's Canadian or something. He had a really nice voice. Not in a weird way, just that's part of the YouTube stuff, is sounding good. I gotta think a little bit about this shot just because the wind's a little bit tricky. A little finesse, club up, put it right about there. And I thought it was so cool that, these guys were playing video games, and even at, 12, 13 years old, I knew they were playing Call of Duty for 8 hours a day. And I think the weird thing, they're a little short.
It's a good shot, but does leave that little uphill putt, so that one will be slow.
I think the weird thing about growing up in modern society is how much education encourages you to do something you like, right? But in reality, as an adult, a good job is one that you don't hate every day. It doesn't matter what you do. And, okay, I'm using absolutes here, which is almost on the border of fallacy. But in my opinion, pretty much everybody has had a day at work where they're like, dang, I hate this job. You know, it's just kind of the way. I'd love to go all hippie and say that I'm getting off topic. The point is, even from a young age, I realized that these guys were not just playing Call of Duty for 10 minutes a day. Oh, I missed the putt.
Not that time. Pretty good effort, but it'll wander a couple of feet by.
I'm gonna have to blow my nose soon. I'll go into the other room. Point being,
Okay, that's in for par
I
here
got
at the
so
first.
inspired by
That's
YouTube
gonna
at a
keep
young
this
age,
large lead
thinking
right
that I
where
could
it
play
is.
video games for 8 hours a day. Because that's what I wanted to do. Because I was in
Second hole
school
here at
for 8
Oak
hours
is
a
known
day
as
and only playing
Leader.
3 or 4 hours of video games a day. You know, like, the less you do something, the more enjoyable it is. I assume if you, well, you know, I would say being a professional golfer would probably be fun every day, but I'm sure there's days they hate their job. I've worked a lot of jobs, a lot of fun jobs, but you still, I think I don't know if I'm narcissistic or a glass half empty sort of person, but anytime you have to do something, you typically start to dislike it after having to do it multiple times, multiple days, multiple months, years. You know, I admire people who have work ethic that can just kind of ignore that concept of I have to do this in order to experience anything else besides poverty and misery.
Little over 80 yards here as he gets set for his second.
And I say this with, in my opinion, with a broad perspective. I've hung out with Harvard kids, you know, Skull House on uh, Beacon Street, right past the bridge over to their campus. Uh, talked to a lot of really smart people. One of my best friends is a professor who's 50 years older than me, who is he's published Milton analyst, who's, you know, old school English, but he also is extremely knowledgeable about apocalyptic literature. You know, like he taught a class. I didn't take it, but he taught a class on The Walking Dead and other literary stuff that's been really recent. That's kind of like dogging on technology, which I think is awesome. Because we're gonna get, this is gonna be a long stream, yo. I'm getting deep already, but we got a lot of golf to play. Let me hit this shot real quick, and then I saved what I was talking about in my head right there. Okay, so this is with a headwind, and it's up 12. These wedges tend to kind of go really high. I bet I can make this work. I probably want to go like a 3/4 swing with a little bit of top spin to get a little bit higher to catch a little more drag. That's going to be too far. That's way too far. And coming up that hill. Golfing like shit, by the way.
Very good at all. That could cost him.
Yeah.
Kind of got to use the bathroom all of a sudden, too. I put a
Lewis
dip in.
took the shorter club now.
If you're a person who doesn't drink caffeine, as in coffee, or use tobacco products, just be aware that they make you have to poop. So, smoking's bad. It makes you poop. I'm not smoking, but it's same drug. Oh boy. Green's pretty severe. So I'm gonna flop it. Probably put a little backspin on it. Ooh, terrible golf. Yeah, geez, I gotta use the bathroom. And like, I put a dip in after I did my intro, thinking, am I you know, give me something to spit besides mucus, but I was wrong. Downhill putts break more, but this should be fine. Okay, I'm gonna use the bathroom. I'll be back. Just chill.
Here at the second, and he'll remain 4 clear of the field. The third here is a long par 3 at 230 yards. It's protected by 2 bunkers left and 2 more short and right. But the biggest concern here is making sure you get enough carry over an aggressive false front, because just about anything that lands in the front third of the green won't be staying there for too long.
All right, yo, I'm back. Sorry about the wait. Oh, jeez, yeah, my sinuses are. God. Sorry, gross. Gotta do it though. It's like I get my allergies triggered. I get really congested in my nose, and then it turns into like post-nasal drip, and then like it's hard to breathe, and I feel like I got this. I guess it kind of feels like an eraser that's just like lodged way up my nose, kind of where it touches my throat. But I also think that your internal nerves aren't as accurate as your external nerves. So like if you have a headache or something, like you feel it in a certain spot. With my sinuses, I don't feel like it's necessarily that spot. Like for some reason, I'm convinced if my left nasals seem more clogged, that it's actually probably on the right side, and like it's like my brain doing some sort of weird mirror switching thing. I'm gonna take a shot of tequila to clear up the sinuses real quick. Okay, and then we're getting back to on topic with the growth of what I grew up watching on YouTube, which I would consider my primary media outlet. I don't know if I can do this. My sinuses are getting really bad. I just took my allergy pill, so hopefully that kicks in. Power drive. Okay. Probably won't be that good, but it might be okay. So after the Call of Duty, and it was exclusively Call of Duty montages, Call of Duty. Well, really, I liked the full match commentaries more.
Yeah, that one's getting a little hot. It's safe to warn, but it'll be a long look coming up. This
I
one
feel
is
like the
all about
talking's making it
touch
worse.
and feel and creativity. Coming down that
Ugh.
huge slope, though it is a birdie putt.
After Call of Duty, it was FIFA. So FIFA 13 was the first FIFA game I bought, which means I was definitely watching FIFA videos in 2012. It was Tobias, who is no longer creating content. I watched a little KSI, the FIFA funnies, not the Road to One, Rank 1. I saw some Road to Shaw videos, and this will become relevant in a little bit. You probably don't know what I'm talking about if you're American. Let's just send this putt real quick. This would be really cool if it went in, because this is nasty. Got into the FIFA Ultimate Team scene. Got pretty good at FIFA. Grew my interests to beyond American football and baseball. Got really big into Ultimate Frisbee, which is really similar to regular football. I really enjoyed, what was his name? He's an Arsenal fan named Matt. I think it's MGM or something is his channel. Really good career modes. Played a lot of career mode before I got out of the Ultimate Team stage.
It is a stout cast, bunkers, and out of bounds loom on the right side of the fairway.
Excuse me.
With trees running along the left.
So it's pretty much dominantly football through high school on YouTube. Don't think I watched much else because I was gaming a lot of the time versus watching. Then it turned into, after football, you know, what was it next? I'm gonna get over this tree. I didn't get over the tree. Oh, watch out! Thank you. Thanks for the header.
Well, not this time. That one's in the rough. Might be a tough shot coming up.
Yeah, I actually really didn't watch that much YouTube from like sophomore to senior year of high school because I was having fun with my friends and gaming with them more than anything. And it was definitely high school where the idea of me needing to succeed academically started to become, you know, like this is the path that my life is going to take. Like, I'm smart, I'm doing well, I'm going to go to college, get a degree, get a job, blah blah blah. Then I got to college. This is when UFC started to become an interest in my life. You know, I think it's crazy that people fight each other for money. I don't think it's a good profession. I think it's entertaining and just it's so humane at the most primal level. It's hard not to see it as entertaining, in my opinion. If that makes any sense. And that kind of ties into where I'm going. I guess we'll just kind of skip to the... So we've gone from middle school Call of Duty to high school, early college, FIFA, into slightly more like MMA, Let's Play series. Oh, Let's Plays. Those were always huge. Yeah. Let's Plays were big from like freshman year of high school on. Mostly because I didn't have money to buy every game I wanted to play. So I'd find someone who I liked the way they sounded talking. That's always been my biggest thing. Trying to find a YouTuber I like. If I don't like the way they talk, I'm not going to watch them. I don't care how good they are or how great their content is. If their mannerisms or dialect is... and I don't mean to sound... Oh.
Leading is one thing, but hitting iron shots
I don't
like
discriminate,
that,
you know. A lot of my favorite YouTubers are Dutch or in English. So it's not like it's the way they sound, it's just the way they talk more. I know I sound terrible. I think I can say really good words, but I don't think my delivery of them is sufficient. So late college.
It's a birdie here at 4.
Actually, no, it wasn't even late college.
He'll get it to 22 under par.
It was after college when I, started living life as an adult. I got into a lot of European YouTube.
As of a recent renovation, inspired by the original 6th hole.
And I will say, it stems. I played a lot of StarCraft. It's a strategy game. I've put it on the channel before. And we're getting God. I kind of this is kind of coherent, right? Like I'm not rambling, am I? I'm not waffling. I feel like this is a stream of thought. The thing about StarCraft is Americans are notoriously shit at it. Like we've had 2 good players like ever. Pretty much, or maybe, well, if you count the Canadian and Mexicans, we've had 4. But like specifically American players, there's only been like 2 that are like actually competitive. And like StarCraft's like on the same level as like Dota in terms of competitiveness and money you can win, or at least it definitely was when I was getting into it. So I watched a lot of European commentators, and I liked it. It's really interesting to see dialects outside of American ones, which I've studied a lot of. That was kind of I'm an English major. My focus was pretty much like, oh boy, come on back. Like 1850s to 1975-ish sort of American literature.
A great opportunity here for birdie.
So I've spent a lot of time studying Southern dialect, East Coast dialect, Midwest dialect, that weird sort of twang you get in like the North Central to Northwest. That's another crazy thing. It's worth talking about. I remember like I grew up in Indiana, which is, man, I'm golfing like shit. I should have a big enough lead that I'll probably, oh no, I don't. I'm only 2 strokes ahead. I kind of got to focus on the golf. Oh. I'm so bad at multitasking.
Yeah, that's good putt.
Although I am drinking, commentating, and playing, so that's... No, I'm just kidding. I lost my train of thought again.
Now to the 6th, which in fact was the old 5th hole here in years gone by.
It's so hard to...
Par 4 at a full 500 yards. Allen's Creek, which
I have a lot of like sensory...
makes an appearance here as well. This is the
I guess the way I would describe it is I'm like hyper vigilant. It's really kind of hard for me to focus with headphones on, but you can't record audio without headphones on unless you mute your speakers. And I like to play the game. Anyways, let me just. I'm gonna get to the climax of what I'm trying to say here. I don't know when YouTube started. I think it was like 2005-ish, 2006, pretty like MySpace era sort of vibe, and I didn't look it up, I didn't do research, but I know it wasn't that big when I got into it, 2010. It was big, but it was mostly stupid shit and like what would translate to memes today. And I think back when it started, it succeeded so quickly because there were so many people like me who felt a social disconnect, didn't feel like they could make friends or share their interests in reality, but they could come into this virtual reality and have icons and thousands of supporters of that icon that kind of all shared the same, you could almost call it an archetype or perspective more broadly.
Yeah, we've got 127
And then, like,
yards left to the hole today. Pin, front
I've
right
made a
is
big deal about, like,
41.
high school versus college. COVID hit. What was it? I think it was my junior year of college, but I'd already taken a year leave of absence for my mental health. So it would have been like my senior year technically if I didn't have to take a break. So I graduated high school 2015. So right around, 2019, 2020 when COVID came out. I think YouTube took a really big shift, and arguably you could say it was more like 2016 where the shift started happening. Like right as YouTube became super mainstream, like, God, I'm talking terribly, but I feel like around 2018, 2017, 2016, YouTube had a bunch of 20 to 45-year-olds watching that had been with YouTube for a while. Plus, you had the influx of youth who are now realizing this is a leading social media platform. This is a leading content source. If you want to watch something, you can find it on YouTube. How-to videos, entertainment, shit content that's kind of funny in its own way. What the fuck, Richard? Shit like that. And as it became more socially common to spend so much time on social media, with the technological advancements, the YouTube content sort of shifted from focusing on animations and original content, video games. And I realized a lot of people probably use YouTube differently than I did. But for me, before COVID, and that's what we'll call the transition point. It's off a couple of years, but before COVID, YouTube was a place that you could watch other people do things you did on your computer. Vlogging wasn't necessarily, in my opinion, like a big thing. COVID hits right around the same time. There's a new generation of smartphones. Technology has been driven into our heads so much that it's pretty much the only way we communicate with people that we don't know and never will. Now all of a sudden the content is more emphasized around real life interaction. So the birth of vlogging, instead of watching your favorite person play Call of Duty because you're either working a job and going out to bars as an adult, or you're in school as a high schooler playing sports after school. What I'm trying to get at here is, now that we spend so much time, and I try not to. I play a lot of video games, but I'm not on my phone much. I don't social media. If I'm not talking to you in person, it's really hard for me to get engaged. YouTube kind of reflects that fantasy. So before, when I'm repeating myself, I know I'm trying to focus on golf too. Before, when it was difficult, before Discord, before Curse, before TeamSpeak, YouTube was a place where you could communicate and share online experiences. Once it became a massive online community, the viewers, the people seeking entertainment, they're so sucked into this superficial reality that they'd rather watch people do real things. Like, it's kind of crazy. why would you watch a vlog of someone doing something in the real world that you connect to, but like you're not gonna do it, you know? You'll watch a 15-minute video of someone playing football or playing poker or whatever your interest may be in the real world, and then you'll watch another 15-minute video and another 15-minute, and then you spend 4 hours on your computer watching videos of people doing something in real life you wish you were doing. I hope that comes across as I hope it does. And it's just an observation. It's not a criticism. It's not a suggestion that things should change. It's just an observation of how society has approached a medium of entertainment. I think memes kind of tie into this as well. Like, you saw iFunny come and go because it was a little bit before, I think, the time that everybody was on a smartphone. You know, it was kind of just like the young kids back in like 2014. You know, it was probably 12 to 22-year-olds on iFunny, but it died because it didn't try to monetize as well as the current apps. And now that they're pretty much the same thing as iFunny. You get it on Instagram and pretty much see the same content you see from iFunny, but you're going to get ads now, like much more ads, and a whole bunch of OnlyFans girls. Maybe that's just a me problem. But, yeah, it's really interesting now, and I'm not saying I'm not above this. I'm not I won't say a victim, but I fall into this trap as well. Like I said, I used to watch pretty much exclusively on YouTube video game content. Now, besides StarCraft, I don't watch like any video game content. I watch real life content of people doing something I wish I wasn't wasting my time on my computer doing. So, I guess the last point I have to make is to connect it to historical cycles of human culture. And like I said, I'm not going to go into areas that I don't know well, so I won't talk about the classical period or the Renaissance period. But the birth of the novel,
Boy, this could be a tough one right here, Frank.
It's a very long
many people consider like Robinson Crusoe to be one of the first novels. It begins with the word I, the pronoun I, and it's a significant literary shift in terms that instead of focusing on the dynamics and the beauty of language, telling a compelling narrative that connects people. So before the novel, it's more about impressing people with beautiful structures and rhyming. I mean, storytelling is important, but the connective part of it comes from the beauty of it. Then the novel hits, and it's less about the beauty of the form and structure and more about connecting many individuals to one perspective. And that's what makes reading books enjoyable, in my opinion. You know, I don't have to keep saying that. Obviously, this is my opinion. But to me, English is not about analyzing language. It's about getting to know someone just by the way they speak. You know, if someone says something, the way, Jesus Christ, I need to make these putts.
Spot on, a good putt, but nothing to show for it. That one finished off. It'll be a par here at 7. And this will remain a 3-shot lead.
Okay, I'm doing okay. I should be
The
fine.
8th hole checks in at 430 yards. After dealing with narrow landing zones on the previous 2 holes, players here no doubt appreciate a large driving area here at 8.
So yeah, the novel hits.
Greenside bunkers guard against
Robinson Crusoe. You know, it's this unique experience for a lot. There's an English author. A lot of English people weren't leaving England. It's a story about a guy who goes down to Africa, blah, blah, blah. You can read it if you're interested. I don't know if I ever did. The point I'm trying to make is, and this will probably be the last thing I say. I might even end the stream soon because I feel like I've done pretty good about saying what I wanted to say without going too far off the rails. That's the thing. I'll go on a tangent and it's just too good to ignore, but I lose conciseness, which is an important part of effective communication. It pretty much comes down to the idiom, the grass is greener on the other side. We had YouTube in a time where I felt like human interaction was steadily available, but there was a big enough margin of people that felt excluded from common society that an alternative method of communication became preferable. As technology advanced and promoted that alternative reality of social interaction, the emphasis became promoting genuine social interaction. So that's why you see all these prank videos. That's why you see people posting videos of, you know, destroying football competitions or all the baseball controversy on Facebook Reels, or take offline TV. They're going to a lot more vlogs versus video game content. For some reason, and I think it comes back to, you know, the definition of a job. If you have to do something, eventually you're going to come to hate it. And I think as technology advances more, we're oscillating between virtual and actual existence. So I think you're going to see in the coming years, and, you know, who the fuck am I? But I think you're going to see a lot more of these shifts, and it's already happening. You know, the what are they called? VTubers. You know, we're taking real people, giving them an avatar, and then right now they're just playing a video game. But I wouldn't be surprised in 2 years if you're seeing VTubers vlogging on the streets of LA, you know, with an overlay that masks their person while they're talking to real people. I think I don't know. I do know it's a lot harder to get anything to anybody in written language now in the modern era. You know, I'm a writer. I'm published. I'm working on projects. And every time I sit down to write, I'm like, God, who the fuck is going to read this? If I can't make this book into a 15-second video, who is going to have the attention span to sit down and read it? I don't think it'll be any young people. So I'm writing for an audience that's experienced more than me. I mean, God bless you kids who do read and, you know, appreciate art and music. I'm sounding narcissistic slash negative. I can't think of the word even. I know I sound pessimistic. That's the word. I didn't mean narcissistic, but it probably was a little bit as well. I tend to do that. I mean, shit. There's people in this world today that can't get food without an app on their phone. You know, I feel so anarchist for idealizing our nation when it worked better, but had more societal flaws. That's I better be careful. I'm not trying to get canceled with my 6 viewers. That was extrapolation. 6 is infinitely higher than 0. Discrimination has always been a thing in America. It's crazy. I had this thought come into my head the other day. What was I going in? Shit. I was trying to
All
think.
the elements of his game have been in sync today. A terrific shot right
I was
there.
trying to think of an
Getting
identity
it inside that 3-foot
for what it
circle around
means
the
to be an
hole. That was
American.
a really nice shot.
Because
Okay,
historically, we embrace immigrants,
And he'll
although
remain at
we also
23
don't.
under par.
You know, in the last 30 years, we definitely don't embrace immigrants. I mean, honestly, you could probably go back to World War II with the Japanese. We're one people who likes to divide people. You know, I think if I had to summarize what it meant to be an American in one sentence, it would be, we are one people who likes to divide our people. I'm just trying to think of a counter argument to that, and I just can't. Like, civil rights movements, they're great. I am an advocate of equality. I don't think you should be treated differently based on what you believe in, what you look like, how you sound, how tall you are, how proficient you are at performing any sort of task. You know, I think every person is valuable and deserves to live their life the way they want. I believe in a lot of the... God, I'm golfing like shit. I'm normally good at this game.
And that one not quite able to hang on. It's into the
But I also believe no matter how hard we try to prove how woke we are or how inclusive we are, it still is divisive. You know? Like the... God, I'm getting real controversial. I'm just trying to share observations by a person who basically has no friends. I've got a couple. You know who you are. But, like the trans movement. Without hurting anybody's feelings, it's a tyranny of the minority sort of movement that is asking for equality by adding more divisions to society. You know? Like, if you're really trans positive, why bother with gender definitions at all? Why differentiate between male and female at all? You know? If you identify as something, I said that with way too many air quotes. The word identify translates pretty much to one soul identity. Why would that suggest that you could be two different things? You know? Like, if I identify as Ellis, there should be no discrepancy. There shouldn't be like, oh, I could also be Ralph. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be allowed to decide what you're called. Well, I do think there is an inherent ignorance to others' perceptions if you have that certain perspective. You know, most people are conditioned to judge off first look, just based off convenience and time. Black Lives Matter. Do I believe that systemic racism exists in this country? Absolutely. Do I think black people get targeted by police more? Absolutely. Do they get affected from violent police interaction more often? Absolutely. But if you want equality, why would you name a movement something that's not inclusive? And you're right. I haven't lived that perspective. I've been in those neighborhoods my whole life. I've seen my friends get arrested. I've got shot at. I've gotten in fights. But yeah, I don't know that burden of slavery. I think, shit, my ancestors could have been slaves. We all went back to Egypt, right? Like, that's what I tell customers, I work in a low income area at a storage facility. So I get a lot of poor people who struggle making payments, not just on their storage unit, which I can't even afford. I couldn't have a storage unit if I wanted to. Point being, I'll have people come in and say, "Thank you for being so nice to me. I typically don't expect that sort of interaction with a white person." That's not exactly how they say it. They get nervous, but that's what they mean. And I feel that same feeling, like when Shanae comes in and has like 14 vowels in her name, and I'm not saying this is bad. I like that they use, and I shouldn't have said the word they, I like that African communities typically use naming mnemonics based on their heritage. So you get a lot of French, you get a lot of Muslim. I think that's awesome. You should be able to spell your kid's name however you want and say it however you want. I don't care about that. That's not my point. But I feel that awkwardness. I think that's the same awkwardness a black person would feel when they come into the office and I'm nice to them and they know they're 3 months late about to get their auction sold and they think I'm there to screw them out of their stuff and their money. I'm not. I'm here to help, but besides the point. I forget the point. I feel like I've made a point though.
That was a really nice shot.
Every time a dude talks, I lose my train of thought.
And that finishes off a strong front nine. It's a 33 to
Trying to get it back. Chugga chugga choo choo.
We begin the back nine here at Oak Hill with a 400.
Yeah, I gotta take the headphones off. I can't think.
This hole runs somewhat parallel to the first, so that means Allen's Creek is once again an issue, as indeed it crosses the 10th fairway at right about the 300-yard mark.
I totally forget what I was talking about. I'm gonna try to clear the creek. I mean, I don't exactly remember where I was going with that train of thought, but it essentially boils down to America is a country that refuses to acknowledge Americans as Americans. You can't just be an American. You're an African American. You're an Asian American. You're a Karen. You're a Democrat. You're a Republican. There's so many divisions amongst us, and I realize that's why we use a democracy, so we can get the majority, but that in itself is oppressive to the minority. And now, with the medium of technology that we have, tyranny of the minority is a big issue. As I already stated, and I'm just using this example because it's what I experienced the most in my personal life, black people have the hardest time dealing with police. This is true in my personal experience. But they also have the most prejudiced view of the police. And, is it prejudiced? Is it statistic? It's hard to say. Because if you're going to say, well, black people hate the police the most because they get arrested the most, the proportions don't necessarily reflect that according to crimes committed. Although that is getting into a whole other can of worms. Yeah, I should probably quit while I'm behind.
Just went a little bit too far and a little bit to the right, but still, anything inside 10 feet is excellent on this hole.
This a shade better than 50% on the make percentage. It's for birdie.
Oh, a circle. That's good.
Yes, rolls it right in. A birdie here at 10. And the lead is up to 4 now.
I will say,
Final 9 holes.
I'm totally shifting gears here. You know, nobody's watching this. It's okay. I can say whatever I want. This is therapeutic for me.
45-yard 11. It is said that 2,000 tons
I really do appreciate all the views I've gotten on my real life videos. That's kind of what inspired this whole sort of concept. And I know it's a weird one. Sometimes I just need to talk to nobody. But yeah, like, I remember when I was really grinding the Magic videos and Magic the Gathering, the card game. If you don't know, well, whatever. But a pretty substantial amount of my channel was dedicated to Magic. I think my peak video, I got like 1.2 thousand views, and like I don't care about the views. I just think it's an interesting metric to analyze what literature is in the modern culture, so I can more effectively deliver my perspective to a large audience. Because ultimately, I just want to be understood by a bunch of people. I would like to be able to say something and have a bunch of people say, you know what, I relate to that. I think that's the beauty of language. It allows connectivity. You don't see any other species of animal that can't communicate, share feelings like humans do. Don't get me started on orcas. They've got names for themselves. You know, they got specific vocal calls to single out a single orca. But, like, a dog doesn't have a name for other dogs. It smells its butt. That could be effective with people as well. I think I'm hitting this way too hard. Oh, this is... Oh, come on, stick. Yeah, bunker. But I posted, like, I made a football video,
Now from the bunker.
totally different from what I intended it to be. I was gonna make like a meme sort of sidemen challenge video, but after filming for like 4 hours, I realized that was way too much for a casual project. Instead, I just posted like a little 5-6 minute video shooting a couple shots, not alcohol in this case, just soccer shots, or football is what I typically call it. Kind of encouraged like getting outside and working out. Huge, like 5 times whatever I got on any Magic video. I put up a couple shorts because goddamn they're easy to make. Jesus Christ, that's honestly one of the scariest things about YouTube is how fucking easy it is to make a short. Like, you could have a kid sitting in class in biology, he can make fucking 30 shorts in a 55-minute class and not learn a fucking thing, but get like, you know, 1,400 views or whatever, and think he's like doing good. And he is, I guess. You know, maybe. So it all comes down to perspective. And shit, nowadays I couldn't really tell you what matters. Like, fuck.
the rest of the field.
from like the year zero. You could even go like 1000 BC to 1800. Religion was the most important thing, and I'm not bashing religion. I think it's great to have faith. I think it's a good compass to a happy soul. But in my opinion, a lot more young people are turning away from faith into, I guess, clout would be the easiest way to describe it. Artificial obtaining of meaning. Reddit points. Boys used to go to church, now they just flame people on Reddit for spelling a word wrong. The cool thing about fake internet points is that they actually count in heaven, though. That's the currency. So get that karma while you can. Spend it in heaven. Reincarnate. Sorry. I sound like I'm miserable, but I do enjoy this. I gotta quit golfing. I'm gonna fuck my good dude score up. How long is this video? An hour? Yeah, that's just long enough that nobody will think it's like a really good live stream, and it's just long enough that nobody will watch it because it's too long for a good idea. So I'm probably gonna play some Need for Speed. I'm not gonna stream. I said everything I wanted to and some, and forgot a little bit of the stuff I did want to say. But again, just if you spend all your time absorbing media, I would argue that media is going to show you the majority ideal lifestyle. That's great. That's what it should do. That's what media is for. However, with the convenience and abundance of technology in the modern era, there's so much bullshit to filter through. And it's so easy to get distracted in that bullshit that it becomes hard to differentiate between quality. I don't even want to say the word content. Quality lifestyle versus immediate satisfaction, distraction, false hope. I'm saying a lot of things. I'm not saying anything. Definitely follow your dreams. Try to find that job that you don't hate 2 days out of the 5 days a week. Invest in your happiness. And that doesn't necessarily mean just money. Spend time. Instead of grinding Warzone for 6 hours after school, go fucking kick a ball or shoot some hoops or run or paint or write, do something that's not on a screen. I don't say this like, look at me, this is what I do. I'm saying what I wish I would do, pretty much. I wake up every day and I'll be driving to the bank to make my daily deposit for my job. And for some reason my brain gets creative when I'm driving and I'm like, oh, I could write this today, I could write this today. And I almost like fantasize to a point where I'm really not even paying attention to the driving and just kind of thinking about these storylines or plot points or symbols I could add. and then I get home and I work for 8 hours, and then I get done and I'm like, fuck, I'm done working for the day. So if there's something you truly love, don't choose it as a job, choose it as a stress relief mechanism. People who are good at this, yoga people, definitely. I would argue tabletop gamers, Dungeons and Dragons. Yep. Uh, while it's not necessarily a good outlet, I would say drug addicts, including alcohol, tobacco, do kind of this thing and have for a long time, where they escape the pain of existence with superficial joy or release or relief. Definitely wouldn't, suggest that. But I don't know, guys. Thank you for watching my content. Thank you for letting me talk to you. It really helps me. I've got an idea for a soccer video I want to try. I've been practicing a good bit. My touches are getting better. My juggling's getting a little bit better. So I think I'm going to whip out like a little sort of volley challenge video. It'll be short, quick. Probably keep up on the skateboarding content before it gets to winter. Yeah. Blew my mind. I uploaded a video of not landing a kickflip, and I got more views on that than I ever did on any other video of me landing a trick. And I just think it's come down to the meta shift in what YouTube is. So with that, go watch my skate clip of me not landing a kickflip. I'm kidding. Go watch some. You know what? Don't go watch something. Go fail a kickflip. Go hit a golf ball on a golf course. Go tickle your pickle. Hug your cat. Do some chores. Cook a dinner. Find yourself. Peace.